Welcome to the Childcare Genius Podcast, the world's leading authority on childcare marketing, mindset, expansion, and profitability. Each episode will feature interviews with the brightest minds in the childcare industry to guide you into becoming a smarter business leader. Our hosts have opened 10 schools while raising 5 children. They are certified business coaches and are the top-selling childcare business book authors of all time. This episode is sponsored by Childcare Genius Marketing. Let Childcare Genius Marketing help you get fully enrolled and fully staffed. Visit childcaregenius.com for more details. Let's welcome to the Childcare Genius Podcast our hosts, Brian and Carol Dupre.
Welcome to the Childcare Genius Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Dupre, and I've got an amazing co-host, not quite as good looking as my normal co-host, Carol, but I have my co-host today of Michael Braswell. Thanks for joining us. How you doing, Michael?
I'm doing amazing. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, Carol's working on a special project today, so I asked Michael to come in and co-host with me. So we picked a really topic that we think is cool, that we don't really cover too often in any podcast or any training, is how to play the supporting role. You know, I have been in the backseat of the childcare business in a supporting role for Carol for 30 years. You know, she's been in the spotlight. She's been a director. She's run on the owner side. She's done everything. I just kind of like the financial guy. I don't fix things, so she does that because I'm not good at that. Michael, I know you could fix things. But I was always behind the scenes. I didn't want the parents to see me in a building. I just want to go in my little office and hide there and do my work. But there's a role to play on the supporting side and how to do it. Sometimes you just got to learn to shut up. So we're going to talk about that today. Michael, how long have you been in that supporting role?
Let's see. We're in 2026, so the 2020, so 6 years now.
6 years now you've been supporting. And tell me what the good part, what do you like the best about being in the business? First of all, let's talk about the business itself.
Oh, I love the freedom that it allows me to be able to pursue the things that I want to pursue, invest in the things I want to invest. It just overall, I'm building our business, helping build our business for our children, and basically just honestly, it feels like rebirth. I mean, getting out of just the daily grind.
It's awesome. And I know you were a W-2 employee for a long time in the corporate world. You talk about that a lot. And you probably it takes a while to get used to freedom, but I think you're pretty used to it now, and I think it's a lot better. If you had to compare the two, what are the best traits of being self-employed?
Well, I can tell you the most difficult one was coming from a very structured environment to all of a sudden I don't answer to anyone. So it's like that was a shift. And so having to form my own structure was extremely important. And then having to figure out how that structure plays with my spouse. That has been, first couple of years were difficult. Your coaching helped a lot. We set up some lanes, we made well-defined roles, and we keep to those roles, and that actually keeps the turmoil down in the house.
So there's a reason why I'm giving this backstory, ladies and gentlemen who are listening, because you might have a spouse. I had a client come to me this last week and said, Brian, I want my spouse working with me. And I said, okay. So I met him, talked to him, and I got the feeling that he loves his job and does not want to work with his wife, right? So I had to have a conversation like, are you sure this is what he wants to do? It's what you want. So ladies, and I'm being stereotypical here because normally it's the ladies in the childcare business with the guy in the supporting role, but I know there's instances where it reverses. So I'm not trying to be sexist here, but if you have somebody that you're trying to pull into your business, first of all, make sure that they want to do it. They might not want to. And it's scary to leave a safe W-2 guaranteed paycheck job for the uncertainty of childcare with recessions and ebbs and flows. So, me as, the the provider, the role. I thought the leader of my house. I'm not trying to be sexist here, but I just thought that was my role. That when I left my job to help Carol, like that was scary for me. I remember quitting my job and thinking, geez, now we're on our own. And Carol was making 3 or 4 times what I was making. So I know financially it would have been okay. It's still just scary. And of course, it didn't hurt my feelings that she was making more. Would it hurt your feelings if Mandy was making 3 times what you're making, Michael?
Just
No.
like now, she signs my paychecks.
Here, there you go. There you go. But there's a couple things that, I think I'll say men in general, we like security. But there are ladies who like security as well. And leaving a secure to an unsecure is scary. So I just want you to, if you want your spouse in that supporting role, just make sure that you talk to them and find out that they're okay and comfortable. Don't force anything. Like let them come in their own time. Like I have another client that I've been working with, and she wanted her husband for a couple years now. He finally says, you know what, I'm ready to retire now. So she didn't push him. She just said, listen, I want you to work with me, but I'm not going to push you in it. And when you're ready, you can help me on the weekends here and there, do a little stuff. But now he's ready to come in more of a, co-worker type role or equal CEO type role, which is a little tricky. Now, when that actually happens, there's going to be friction. Now, it took Carol and I years to figure out how to work together. Michael, how long did it take for you guys to figure out how to have less friction? Or are you still working on it?
I think since we both got into it and bought the center at the same time, yes, she was the director and running the facility, but yet it wasn't like in some instances where we have some clients where, that's that person's baby. That's something that they birthed, they grew, and then the spouse is coming in. Those dynamics are a little bit more difficult. Mine was pretty easy because we could set up our lanes and respect each other's lanes pretty simply from the get-go. Now, we had problems. I mean, just like everything else. I mean, sometimes she'll cross in my lane. But I think the biggest thing that I've seen the success of clients that do integrate that is, one is setting up the defined lane, but then trusting that person to do that lane. Yeah. So that's where it comes to the point of, you don't want to ever micromanage your spouse. That would just be a recipe for disaster. So it's more of, giving them something that that they can handle and that they're comfortable with, like you said, and then letting them do it. And even if they're going to mess up, let them mess up. That's the other thing. It's like, I'm a fixer. I want to fix everything. Well, I finally came to the realization to where sometimes me fixing it causes more of an issue. So as long as it's not to the extreme detriment of the business, I let her mess up from time to time, and she lets me mess up from time to time.
There's nothing wrong with that, messing up. Now, what would you say would be a great way to integrate? Like, if you want your spouse working with you, what's a good way to broach the subject?
I would just start out with simple things. So if it's literally extra help that needs to be helped around the center, could be starting with just little maintenance issues, other things. Look for a hole of something that's not getting done or something that could be done better. So it's something that maybe you as the owner don't want to do. So if you don't want to get up changing air filters out of the building, if you don't want to get up to, unclog a toilet, things of that nature. I mean, those are things that your spouse could do after work on the weekends. Start slow, because when I jumped into this, I kept my corporate job for a year, and I did both because I needed to see, like you said, it's very hard when I was the main breadwinner. I was the main provider of the family to be able to let go of that and put all of myself into this. And sometimes, like you said, they're golden handcuffs. I mean, corporate America gets you comfortable enough to where you won't leave, you don't want to leave, but yet you don't realize how much better you can do. I mean, my only regret is I didn't do this earlier. I feel like I've wasted time. So now I feel like I have to accelerate things because I'm like, I've wasted so many years, yes, it provided for my family. Yes, it provided us a good living. However, I don't have anything to show for right now. Everything I'm building now, we will have to show for.
Yep. Excellent point, Michael. All right. So if you're, I won't say a lady, if you're whoever's the dominant person who's building the business today, and you want your spouse going in there, just realize the second you start working together, it's going to be not easy. There's going to be a little bit of apprehension. There's going to be a little power struggle sometimes. And I know Carol and I went through the point where, like, I tried to come in and make decisions on things she was doing when I came in the business. And she had been doing it for years her way. And all of a sudden, no, I'm like, we're going this different. And that creates a lot of problems. Because my leadership style is completely different than hers. And I was trying to lead it like a military operation because I'm military. Well, Carol's military too, but she has a people skills that I didn't have. So you have to inch yourself into the business very gracefully and do a lot of listening. And another thing I want to bring up is, there are times where Carol has to vent to me. And, one more thing about the venting. If you're the dominant person who's running the business and all you do is complain about your childcare business to your spouse, that spouse will never want to be in business with you or working with you. So if all you do is give them the negative every single day, and if all you're showing your children is the negative every day, they are never going to want to be in business with you or inherit your business either. I remember our kids saying, all you do is work in that childcare business. Why would I ever want to own that? Because all you do is work. This is what I'm talking about. So if you're working 70 hours a week, your spouse is like, I don't want to do that. I like my 40-hour-a-week jobs. I'll keep what I have. So be careful of what you're portraying to your spouse and your children. Give them the good. Hey, this person graduated today. We helped the kid tie their shoes today. Give them the positive. Talk to your therapist about the negative stuff. That's what you pay them for. But just be careful about always giving negative to your spouse. But there are times, and Carol knows I don't like the negative because I try to keep my mind clear. But there are times she has to go, Brian, I just need to vent. And she'll put a caveat that says, I just need you to listen and not try to fix it. So she says that to me, and that's code for Brian, bite your tongue and just listen. She just needs somebody to talk to. And I'll let her vent it out. She might at the end of it say, do you have any suggestions or encouragement? Knowing that if I give her one, she doesn't have to take it. It's just a guidance. And I'm not trying to fix it. I'm just saying, hey, I would probably do this. And I give a suggestion and I let it go. And if she does a different path, then it's her choice. And that has worked very well for us. And there are times she'll just come up to and say, Brian, what do you think I should do about XYZ? And I'll say, I would probably do it this way. But again, it's her call because it's her lane. And there are times where things are in my lane. I'll be like, Carol, what do you think about this financial decision? Raising the rates 6% instead of 5%. And she'll say, oh, I don't think it's a bad idea. It's up to me whether I want to listen to her or not, because this is my lane. So that's how you work as a team together and not work. We work to a thing called a win-win. I know, Michael, I taught you this years ago, is when you're working together with your spouse, you want everything to be a win-win situation, not a win-lose. There's a book I have. Have it on my bookshelf right here. For those of you watching on YouTube, it's called He Wins, She Wins, right? It's all about the power of winning. And when a husband and wife or a wife and a wife or partners, doesn't matter, whatever business relationship you have, it could be owner-director. Whenever you establish that kind of where you're both trying to make a decision on something, if you work to a win-win instead of a win-loss, it's much better. All right, what's a win-loss? Carol goes to me, I want to go see chick flick over the weekend. I was like, I don't want to go see a chick flick. I want to go see the new Rambo movie. Rambo 27, it just came out, Sylvester Stallone's 82, right? So she's like, well, I don't want to see that. Now, I'll go see your chick flick if you go see my Rambo. We have both just done a win-lose. I've got to suffer through her chick flick, and she's got to suffer through my adrenaline. We both lost, and we both won. A win-win is, Carol, why don't we instead go see XYZ movie? You go see your chick flick with your friends. I'll go see the action movie with my friend Joel, and win, win, win. That is a win-win. Now, when you do business decisions, do it the same way. Carol and I, whenever we buy real estate, we sit down, we work to a win-win on every business decision. If we can't win-win it, we don't buy it. And that has worked well. There was a 27-unit apartment building Carol and I wanted to buy. She really wanted it. I didn't like it. I didn't want to buy it. She was able to make her case enough with win-win that, hey, what if we do this? What if we do this? She got me to the win-win, and now it's our most profitable property. So she did, and not that she sold me. I didn't take any loss on it. She answered all the questions to get me to a win-win. So she did a good job selling me on it. But at any point, I could have said no, and it would not have happened. And that's how our relationship is. Or if she would say no in a it's not really negotiation because we don't negotiate. It's a win-win. We try to get to a win-win in all situations. I know you've used win-win before, Michael.
Yeah. And I was actually going to point out, you brought up a good point to where the supporting role doesn't always have to be a spouse or significant other. It could be a child. So
Yes.
and I see a lot of clients that their children are starting to come up in the business and the owner can't let go. So the other thing is like when you're in that supporting role, you have to, be ready and learn as much as you can, like you were saying. However, realize that, that person, if that's their baby, sometimes it's harder for them to let go. But the biggest thing that I could say that from a supporting role and the win-win, um, also learn to cut off times of when you talk about business. That's
Yes.
the biggest thing. So, I mean, the other day I was working on the books. So I got up at 5 in the morning. I was working on something. By the time Mandy woke up at 7:30, I'm already an hour and a half into my day. I'm like, blah, blah, blah. And I found an error and I was like, hey, look at this. And she's like, I haven't even had my coffee. So it's like, if you want to avoid those early morning like
Yeah, yeah.
headbutts, definitely pick your time, definitely of when to talk about business. It's like, so I've learned that, through certain hours, okay, we can speak about business. After that, it's family. So you gotta
Yes.
you have to create those delineations of work and family.
Yes. When you work, like Carol and I have both worked together in the same house. We worked from home for 25 years and we're always together 24/7, 365. We're at each other's sides. We're always there. And right now we're down in Florida. We have a place and we're always together. Like very rarely do we ever not be together. You have to really have good lanes of relationship when it comes to that. So we have our time where we talk about work. We usually don't talk about anything work related till before 9. And we rarely after 7 o'clock at night, we turn our phones off and you can't even reach us at that point. Like that's our line, but we try not to do much after 5, but 5 to 7 is a grace period. The daycare centers are closing, the tenants might have some issues there, and we still can talk to people, but after 7, it's a hard stop. That's us time. There's no other people going to go in there. It'd have to be emergency, and my kids are the only people that could reach us at that point. After that. So and we use Sunday. Sundays are kind of day off. We try not to work on Sundays. We go to church, we do our stuff there, and we spend time together. And another thing we do is do a thing called game night. So Friday night is no technology for us. So there's no TV, there's no social media, there's no phones. We turn them off. And Friday night is our time to play games with each other. We have a pool room in our condo. We go play pool. We play Scrabble. We play a game called cribbage, and we play Chinese checkers, and we play Yahtzee. Like we that's our time to just like connect as a couple. And we try one time a day to have at least one meal a day. We usually eat 3, but at least one meal a day where we turn our devices off and we just talk. We're not like looking at our phone while we're eating, which can happen a lot, right? And also, we used to eat in front of the TV all the time. That's not a good side by side. Like we're not connecting that. So we tried at least one meal a day where we're facing each other and having a conversation while we're enjoying a meal. So those are all things that will help you if your spouse comes into the role with you and you're spending a lot of time with them without driving the other person crazy. But back to what we said before, if all you ever do is complain about childcare, they're never going to want to be a business with you, and your kids are never going to want to take over from you. So be careful of what you send. Now, here's the problem. You can't talk negative to your director. You can't talk negative to your spouse or your children. You need to hire a coach you bring the negative to so they can help you solve that. I really believe that. Your coach is your person. Michael?
Well, I was going to say, at the end of the day, your mindset is all that matters in our business. And so
Yes.
if you have a negative mindset and you're always complaining, then that's something you need to look inward and basically realize that if you're always speaking negative, those negatives always happen.
Oh,
And
yes.
you have to get to a point to where you've got to tweak your brain to just think positive, because we are the lifeblood of our centers. I mean, and so, and how our day is going and how we portray ourselves, like you said, to our family, to our coworkers, to anyone else like that. If we're always negative, then that business is going to be negative. So if you want a better culture, a better center, a better life at home, I mean, that's just general great advice for everything, is you really have to work on your internal mindset and that internal voice.
Why all my books have a mindset component to it, every single one of them. And I was the first coach to bring mindset into childcare because it's so important. If you don't have the mind right, nothing else will good. It's mindset, health set, mindset, health set, right in my book. You're gonna lose the train of thought with it.
I was going to say it's in your book.
Health set, mindset,
But
heart set, and health set. So those are the four that's in order that we talk about. Now, all the other stuff, marketing, expansion, leadership, mentorship, if you don't get the first four right, and mindset is the number one. And all seven of my books, six of them start with mindset. This is the one that I started with, wealth set, which is financial. Because Childcare Multimillionaire it's a financial book. So I put the financial first. It's the 40% of the first part of the book. And then I go into the mindset. Even though I wanted to put mindset first, what I found out was some of the owners that read it never got past the first few pages because mindset wasn't what they were looking for. They were looking how to make money. So I got to show them how to make money in this book. And then they're excited enough to get the mind right.
yeah.
But mindset is dry. It's not the most exciting thing to talk about. We're talking about money. To me is exciting. So for some people, mindset is a little dry until you get excited about it. I'm excited about it now, so I can read about it. But when you first start it and you got a crappy mindset because you watch social media, you do reels. If you're doing reels, all you're doing is looking at other people faking life and comparing yourself to that, right? So that's
Yeah.
negative. Or watching the news. Oh my God, that's the worst thing you could do. So you need to get your mind right, put more positive than negative. And we digressed a little bit off the spouse thing, but by you getting the positivity in your life, you're a better spouse to your parent, a spouse to your spouse, you're a better parent to your children, you're a better worker to or an owner to your director, and just a better person.
And that's, well, it actually ties back into the supporting role. So the supporting role is, if say that you are going into business with your spouse and say that they do have a negative mindset, that doesn't mean you adopt their mindset. It's like literally you become the supporting role by trying to get them to see the positives. Because aside from this business, who wants to be around somebody who's always complaining and who's always negative?
Yep.
And what I mean by that, and there are a lot of people out there, but some of the people that I coach have the best mindsets. And when that storm comes, they weather it fine. It's if you have a negative, defeated mindset and that storm comes, it's going to crush you.
Yes. The problems you have today are what you prayed for before you started your business.
Exactly.
You wanted a childcare business. You wanted to be an owner, and you knew it wasn't going to be problem free. But there are people around the world that would kill to have what you have.
Yes.
You're so blessed to live in a country where you could have your own business and be free and make what you want to make. And if you want to make $1 million or $1 billion, you're in the best place to make it. And you can do that if you want to. And then you can give it all away. You can do that too. Like you
But
could do so much good.
But don't do it at the expense of your own health.
There you
I'm
go.
serious, because basically so many people work themselves at both ends. Everything's crushing down on them, and what's the point at that point?
Sure.
I mean, you have to, and the biggest thing for me, because I came from being a very negative person, but my best role as a supporting spouse is practicing my gratitudes. Honestly, that's what makes you happy. You have to appreciate the things that you have and where you're at.
Yep. Yeah. Money will not buy you happiness. But it beats being poor.
True.
So, it's one of those things where you kind of need money to make money, but you also need money to kind of, it does. I can tell you, I've been rich and I've been poor. Rich is better. And it seems like we had more struggles when we were struggling financially, more fights, more or arguments. When money's tight, I think money is probably what the leading cause of divorce in America. Other than social media, that's probably a big part of it too. But lack of money and struggles, poverty, but also too much money is for divorce too. So you gotta have a balance because it's not. You gotta have a passion. What's your passion?
Yeah.
And your business may be your passion. It might be your children. But to be that supportive person, find out what they like to do, find out what their passion is, and hopefully you guys line up. But it might be something totally different. They might love their profession. Don't try to take them away from their job if they love it. Eventually, they're going to retire. You could build your business. There's a lot of successful people whose spouses are in completely different lines of work. They like that security. Maybe you have health insurance through them. Don't force them out. And if we can help you in your childcare business, just reach out to me directly. You can go on our website at childcaregenius.com and under the coaching tab, say, I'd like a free coaching call. And we'll help you out. We'll help you deal to that situation. Maybe you have a specific thing when it comes to your spouse that you want us to, like, how do I get this person, or how do I get my spouse to do X, Y, Z? Or how do I do that win-win? Or how do I talk to my children about this? Or how do I change my mindset? We'll be happy to talk to you about that. And I want to thank my amazing coach, Michael Braswell. Michael and I have been friends for many, many years. I've coached him for a couple, and now he's one of the coaches on our team. And you coach people all over the world now, Michael, on helping them with their mindset, making more money, how to work with their spouse, just be a happier person. And I want to thank you for joining us today.
Awesome. No, it's awesome being here. Thank you.
You bet, Michael. Have a good day.
See you.
Thank you for listening to the Childcare Genius podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please do us a favor and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a future episode. Don't forget to visit our website at childcaregenius.com to see a list of services we offer to help grow your childcare business. Until next time, thank you for being a part of the Childcare Genius community.